Welcome to Phoenix Within. This is our story where you can become the hero or the heroine by simply using your imagination to be a part of the tale. And tonight is the last chapter. In the 12 chapters so far, we have been following Morgan, our protagonist, who you can create to be whoever you want Morgan to be. And if you hadn't had a chance to join us so far, tell this story in first person with minimal description so that everyone listening or reading can fill in the details and make the story relevant for you. So I believe that life should be so much more than the usual born, school, good grades, get a job, get married, have a family, work until you retire with some weekends and maybe 4 weeks off a year if you're lucky, retire, and then hopefully have enough to pay for your funeral and some nice bits for the grandkids. And this story was designed to show you an alternative way of thinking. So Morgan was going through a bit of a rut at the start of our story. Life always felt quite difficult, but then Morgan learned a few new things from a webinar, some books from the library, and some seminars that they attended. Morgan progressed through losing their partner, their job, and home, getting a couple of different roles, and then being given a choice to either carry on earning just enough to pay the bills and nothing more, living in whatever accommodation they could find, or to take a leap and buy into a franchise that comes with a lovely apartment and lots of other income potential as well. So at chapter 12, Morgan made their decision and took their leap into the franchise, accepting the generous funding offers and then heading to bed after messaging their friend. But was it the right decision? Let's find out. So, chapter 13, I have called 3 months later. I've been wondering recently about where I might be now had I chosen the university cleaning. Yesterday, I went for a walk to look around some of the studio apartments available and past the university, available and past the university where I used to work. It made me smile when I saw others trying to work out if they could afford it, and they were able to wake up in the same way that I did. The apartments were all open house visits, so I couldn't leave any details about the upcoming speaking events being hosted at my shop apartment. But I did manage to speak to a few people outside and hand them in some information. Inside, all the apartments were much smaller than on the online listings meant to be, and it only further cemented that I have made the right decision. For starters, I live in an amazing apartment. So much space, really comfortable. I keep it clean, but I also have a weekly cleaner to do all the main work, which is amazing. Using even more of my spare time to do as I choose to do and not worry about being ready for the events that are hosted 2 or 3 times a week. So my living quarters are amazing, and the job is a dream. Spending even more time in my shop with my staff and my customers. I gave up the cleaning job and I worked my notice. It wouldn't have worked for me being the owner of this coffee shop. I would have felt guilty phoning them to say I couldn't come in because a member of my staff had phoned in sick or couldn't work one day. So I decided to focus solely on the shop and my side hustle. Besides, I've earned more in profit in the last 3 months than I earned in the last whole year. Yes, I need to pay my taxes, and I use some of the profits for new ideas or to sort things in the shop, but my bank balance has looked like this since, well, actually, it's never looked this good. It's never had this much in it. I've bought myself a whole wardrobe, a selection of new books, new laptop. I've also paid for courses to help me understand how to run, market a business, and some other personal developments to help me to continue to grow myself. Life really is amazing. Yes, there was a little blip where one of the machines had a malfunction last month, but as it was the first time, the owner helped me to get it sorted and paid the bill. And one of the staff members quit with no notice. But again, that was a fairly easy fix, as there are lots of new students looking for part-time work at the moment. So me entertaining where I could have been right now seems like a way to only boost my gratitude even further. There were very few options, as I recall. I could have either been sleeping in a tent or a cardboard box in an alleyway or under a bridge, begging for change to at least buy some food. Well, that was an extreme potential outcome, I'll admit. More realistically, I would probably be in one of those tiny studio apartments, struggling to meet to ensure the bills were paid and I could pay for food, taking any extra work possible to have a little left each month, which would mean that I had very little time to do much of anything else. I suppose that wouldn't have been a problem as I'd be busy. And besides, what could I go and do with my spare time if I had no spare money? No, this is actually kind of pointless, isn't it? I'm sure this reminiscing may serve some purpose if I had chosen that job over the franchise, although it would only serve to make me feel even worse, mentally berating myself for being a coward and not taking the risk like I have done so many times in the past. But this time, I didn't give up on myself. I took the leap. I was physically sick for 3 days after, although I did at least manage to get all the signed documents ordered before I couldn't leave my bed. And the first month was horrendous, constantly wondering if I'd made the right decision, terrified I'd made a mistake or someone would notice that I was not the right person for the job. I really gave myself a hard time. Right up until the first event in my apartment space that happened a couple of weeks ago. I invited the speaker from those two seminars to speak at it, and they agreed. I was even able to pay their asking price, get my friends involved as co-hosts with the speakers team, and the event was a sellout success. Yeah, we only sold 40 tickets, as that is the most my space can hold, but they sold at a very good price, which was suggested by his team to help me ensure that all the costs were covered and still make a profit. Everyone in attendance was treated to some really lovely food and drinks, and each received a free coffee voucher for the shop in their gift bag as part of their ticket. This ensured with business opportunities, got the word out that this was one of the hottest locations in town for a quiet, personal meetings and seminars. The success of the event and the subsequent rise in coffee shop profits over this month has allowed me to get rid of most of my doubts and worries and calm myself down about the whole thing. The coffee shop owner also encouraged me to take a 3-day holiday. I stay in this country. My passport didn't have enough on it to go overseas. I have renewed that now. But it was so nice just to get away and see some of the country I live in. I've never had that opportunity before. I'll be honest, the doubts are still popping up. I still feel like an imposter a lot of the time. And I still have my fair share of problems. But these are new problems. And I can see them as challenges instead of barriers. The biggest one is how to organize my time. I get to choose when I work and for how long. Yeah, I work around my other staff members, doing the early morning openings and later night closings now the days are shorter, to keep them from needing to walk in the dark. But that was still my choice. It took me a good 3 weeks to get into a routine, and now I have even added new activities to it. A bike, so it doesn't take as long to get to the library or the bookshop. I joined a gym and go nearly every day, mixing up some swimming with classes and using the cardio machines and the weights. I've joined some clubs as well, my favorite being a pivot-based one to improve my cooking skills and eat more healthily, but also to get to my hobbies that have been pushed aside for way too long. My side hustle is also going on, and a couple of my team members and I have hosted a couple of little get-togethers at my apartment to show the opportunity to a larger number of people all in one go. Those both went really well, and our commission statements have been amazing, not to mention the new people we have introduced to our team as well, who are also lovely. I've also started attending some networking events to meet new people, learnings, and also advertise my shop and apartment to a wider audience. The coffee shop itself has its usual regulars, but also some new regulars, and people are loving being able to experiment with flavors and ideas every Sunday. The older gentleman who gave me Think and Grow Rich still comes in every Sunday. I love getting to spend some time with him and make sure I always have another staff member in so that I can sit and chat. He does also come along to the talks we host in the apartment and really gets involved in making his own drink and trying new ideas. What struck me today, though, as I reminisce on everything that has happened, is how much my self-image has changed in such a short space of time. I mean, 3 months isn't a long time in the grand scheme of things, is it? I found my old notebook in a box that I hadn't got round to unpacking until this morning, and as I flicked through the pages, I found where I'd written my wants list and who I wanted to be. I am happy to share that everything I wrote on those pages actually came true. I am healthier, wealthier, happier than ever. My income has increased without sacrificing my time. I actually have more time to do with as I wish now than I ever had before. The people I'm around has also completely changed. I meet loads of different people at networking groups, yes, but even down to my day-to-day life, in the coffee shop or at the library. I am rubbing shoulders with business owners and entrepreneurs with zest for life rather than complaining. And when I do meet who's complaining, I offer them a free drink and a friendly ear at the coffee shop to discuss how they can see the world differently and explore new options rather than stay stuck where they are. Granted, a few of these people have scoffed at the idea and given me a weird look as if to say I belonged in an asylum, but a few have taken me up on the offer and I've simply shared my story and what I did. A couple of these have also started making regular trips to the coffee shop to read some of the books I've put on a shelf for customers to look at and also to attend some of the speaking events. The books I haven't mentioned yet, but they are my newest idea and they have been a big hit. I found an old bookcase and had it mounted to the wall next to the door. I then brought a variety of self-help books, fiction stories with good morals and ideas, some encyclopedias and other books to fill the shelves with. Titles such as Think and Grow Rich, You Were Born Rich, Science of Getting Rich, Psycho-Cybernetics, You Are a Badass, and many more are now favorites among many of my regulars. The library even had more copies, as people were then ordering them to read at home. I did have a bit of a weird visit the other day, though. Now I think about it. A family member appeared, seemingly out of nowhere. We've not been in contact in quite a while, other than the usual birthday and special holidays cards and the odd call or message, but they just appeared this week. They came into the coffee shop asking how to find the address I lived at. I had sent a card saying I'd moved, and the staff member then called me down as I popped upstairs. When I came down in my shop apron, they looked quite surprised. I thought you were working for that posh company up the road. I smiled and say that company was shut down about 3 or 4 months ago. They looked at me disapprovingly before speaking again. And you couldn't find anything better than working in a coffee shop? Thankfully, there were no customers in the shop at the time, so I asked them what they were drinking on the house and then guided them to sit at the seats in the window while the staff member went out to sort some jobs. Actually, I say to them, I own the shop. I wait for them to recover from choking on their drink before telling them a much shortened version of the past few months. Once finished, I sip my drink and wait for them to take everything on board and reply. All that in 3 months. It's not even a roller coaster ride. Why didn't you tell me? We could have come and helped you out, or at least helped you find some work. I'm not sure how they could have helped, but it was nice of them to offer at least. They don't normally offer any support, just to get on with it, like they did when my partner left. Hence, not telling them about losing my job or my eviction notice. We chat for a little while longer, catching up on their life as well. Nothing new, really. Closing in on retirement, thinking about downsizing as the mortgage hasn't been fully paid off yet, and they are worried about that with failing health. The story of a lot of people's lives, it seems. I managed to shift the conversation to my side hustle as a way of giving them some extra income, and they seem interested. We even set a date for me to pop over to theirs to share the presentation and see what they think. As they left, I felt quite positive. Yes, they had initially judgy over my life choices in the past few months, but I think they were more shocked than anything that I had actually fallen on my feet for once. I have changed the story of all the generations before me, and that feels really good. As Maxwell Maltz says in Psycho-Cybernetics, I have dehypnotized myself. It didn't stop me feeling nervous and sick when I saw them in my shop, and then when I told them everything that has happened recently. I guess I was just assuming that they would be their usual judgy self and put me down. But I managed to take some breaths, compose myself, and tell the truth. If I can have a conversation with them about without being made to feel 2 inches tall, then I must be doing something right. And that's the main reason for me to write this book, to share my story, to show anyone who reads it that your life isn't carved in stone at your birth. You can change your direction at any time, and you don't have to be really rich or well supported to do it either. Look at me, just an average human working average jobs, earning average or below money, living hand to mouth with no one to bail me out. But yet, here I am, now sitting on top of a franchise business, my own boss, with multiple incomes, living the life I dreamed about only a few months ago. The world is my oyster, and it is yours as well. Only you can decide where your life goes, same as is up to me where I go next. Maybe another franchise shop, or buy this one out fully. Maybe I'll expand into another business alongside this, or simply grow this to something I've not even dreamed of yet. Who knows? I haven't decided what I want next yet. I have some ideas, but I also definitely haven't stopped long enough to get comfortable where I am now. The comfort zone is not a good place to be, I've heard. It's where things are good, but then they stagnate or start to slip because you stop pushing things forward and you lose your momentum. Choosing to stay comfortable rather than making life uncomfortable for a while. I'm not going to let that happen. I've already got 2 more big events in the planning stages for next month, as well as some ideas around the holiday season and into next year. Next year, I have some pretty big income and turnover goals for my little shop. But this isn't just about me. This is about opening your eyes to the possibilities that you have in your life. Yeah, buying a franchise might not be something for you, nor is a little side hustle. But equally, there is an idea inside you of where you want your life to go, and there is only one thing stopping you from reaching it. Are you ready to hear what that thing is? It's you. You are the only thing standing in your way. I was the only thing standing in my way. You may think, same as I did, that it's the money, the boss, the family, your ability, your environment, any number of other things that are holding you back. But the only person who can change any of those things is you. Only you can decide to actually do the things you know how to do. But at the moment, you're deciding to not do, to stay in the comfort zone, whether it is comfortable or not daring to poke your head above the wall and risk losing everything in order to get what you want. But do you want to stay where you are? Or do you want more? Don't worry, it's not selfish to want more. After all, as I've shown, when you have more, you can give more to others. You can't give them what you don't have. So my advice to you, go and get what you want in your life and then show others how you did it so that they can achieve their dreams as well. Don't know where to start? Find someone who is already where you want to go and ask them. Or if that sounds way too scary, maybe just dive into the books I've recommended and start reading, just like I did. This book isn't designed to blow my own trumpet. It's to give you a chance to see that you are not alone and that anyone can succeed. All they need to do is make a decision and then follow through with what needs to be done. So what are you waiting for? Go and do what you know you need to get to where you want to go in your life. I'll see you on the other side of success. And remember, you can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending. And that is the Phoenix Within. That was chapter 13. And that was our last chapter. All the video recordings, podcast audios, and the blogs up to this point have all been published across my social media and my blog posts as well, and my website blog as well. And if this is something that resonates with you, something in it sounds familiar, or is something that you want to do in your life, then get in touch. I can certainly show you what I've been doing and what I help my clients to do. And I don't mind helping you as well. And if you mention the fact that you have listened to any stories or read them, then you are entitled to a free one-to-one masterminding session with me to get you on the right track. Completely complimentary. It's just a session to find out where you are now and where you want to go to next. Because when you know where you are and you know where you want to go, you can just go. But you have to know where you are and where you want to go. Otherwise, how do you know which way to turn? It's as simple as that. And it really is that simple. We just make it a hell of a more complicated than it needs to be. So if this has resonated with you, please feel free to get in touch. All of my contact details are everywhere, pretty much, on any of my socials. But for right now, let me be one of the first to wish you a very Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and if it's not merry and it's not happy, then just drop me a message. Happy to chat. Let's jump on a call and see if we can help you out. But as I said, right now, thank you for joining me. Thank you for watching the replay if you are watching this on one of the recordings. And I look forward to speaking to you soon. Merry Christmas and have a great rest of your evening.